In the headlines to the CBC NewsNight, close to 12 new homeowners get their keys as government continues its mandate to provide affordable housing. The fishing industry on the rebound after Hurricane Beryl. Stepped up efforts by the National Peace Program.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening and welcome to the CBC NewsNight. I'm Wendy Burke with the details. Almost a dozen new homeowners received the keys to their houses at Clifton St. Philip today as government presses on with its providing affordable housing. Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance Dwight Sutherland says hundreds more are coming in various developments. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Minister Sutherland said he was delighted to be able to hand over the keys to 11 homes to their new owners. He said the housing development project was a joint venture between Charitable of Guyana and the government of Barbados, which provided jobs for Barbadians in the process.
This project was a joint venture between Charitable out of Guyana, who manufactured these houses, and they were shipped, disassembled, we assembled them. Local contractors assembled these houses under the guidance of the Guyanese contractor. And we had at least, when we factor in the foundations and those persons who would work on these houses, we provided employment for at least 20 local contractors and builders.
New homeowner Sonia Gale is thanking God for her good fortune and is looking forward to moving in.
It means a lot, it's a blessing. And I said, but God. The feeling I can't express, the feeling and the joy of owning a piece of this rock.
The minister had high praise for the staff at the National Housing Corporation, saying getting any project to this stage involves a cross-section of individuals and departments.
This is the staff who ensures that they work tirelessly with the lending institutions to make sure that each individual who presents themselves to National Housing for a home have the necessary particulars in these so we can move forward to allow them to own their own home. And I want to thank the staff this morning, General Manager and his team at National Housing Corporation, and indeed the Ministry of Housing, Lands and Maintenance team for indeed giving the homeowners the opportunity like what we see this morning.
He also used the opportunity to clarify media reports about fire victims being given free homes at the Solaris housing project at White Park Road, St. Michael. He stressed there is no free housing.
The 5 fire victims from Wellington Street, when we moved them into Solaris Court, we moved them in free of cost. We give them time to settle. And when they were settled, then they began to pay rent. So that word free meant that for the time these 5 fire victims, the families settled in at White Park Road, we allowed them a few months, a grace period, and then they started paying the rent. So I just wanted to correct that error and to assure you, the country, because persons may be calling National Housing asking them, where is the next free house? And I don't want that.
The minister also disclosed that 1,500 houses are to be completed in 2025-2026. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
The local fishing industry is on the rebound following its decimation by Hurricane Beryl. Evidence of that can be seen in the plentiful dolphin, tuna, snapper and turbot at the Bridgetown Fisheries Complex. This is according to Managing Director of Lashley and Way Fish Processors, Dale Lashley. He was speaking while waiting to collect yellowfin and big-eye tuna at the complex earlier today.
The prices are consistent with the prices around this time of the year, except for, of course, that the flying fish, which normally comes in bulk, are landed around this time of the year. And the flying fish, as you know, really is the driver of the industry. There have been very few flying fish around, and consequently the price has gone up somewhat. But in the main, the prices have remained stable throughout the industry. There are a few people who now are coming back to the fish market to buy their fish. Of course, the other meats, the prices have gone up astronomically.
However, Mr. Lashley says while some boats have returned to the water, he expects a lull which is normal at the start of the year. But he is hopeful boats will return with bountiful catches.
I think the amount of fish that have been landed the last couple of days, well, say the last week or so, should be enough to satisfy, local demands. Because a lot of the boats who normally would ship the fish, I think the fishermen took a conscious decision not to ship this week so they can put fish on, Barbadian plates. So if you come in here, I imagine you're going to see almost all the vendors who have loads of tuna. There's some turpits around. This morning there's some fresh red snapper. I managed to get some red snappers this morning. So I imagine that we should have enough fish for the festive holidays.
The National Peace Program is stepping up its crime-fighting efforts in 2025. The government-led program launched several new initiatives, including the Likewise campaign, which will highlight real-life stories of at-risk and high-risk youth who actually did crime, went to jail, came out, and turned their lives around. Minister of State with a focus on crime prevention, Corey Lane, says the series, which will be broadcast through traditional and social media platforms, will also tell stories of at-risk youth who are living life on the streets and are asking for help.
The major part of public awareness is the Live Wise campaign, which is really rooted in the spiritual element as we give honor to God and as we look back at our wise sayings. The old people have really good wise sayings, and they used to live really wise. And we move away from that. Live Wise is supposed to be bringing back a lot of that as we work with the churches, the faith-based organizations, and we use our public awareness to bring about meaningful behavioral change and bring awareness to what we are doing. So today we'll be launching the Live Wise campaign. The Live Wise campaign has 14 different programs to it. I believe about 4 or 5 of those are ready. And we'll be launching them, and members of the public will be able to go and see these exciting quality programs.
Additionally, the National Peace Program will be partnering with the Miners Club to teach children how to ride motorcycles. Director of the club, Tamar Haynes, says the initiative, which will be taken across the country, will help to guide many young people who have a keen interest in riding motorcycles in the right direction and away from living a life of crime. Mr. Haynes is thanking the Great Hope Foundation for donating a motorcycle to the initiative.
I was running a club, and solely through the neighborhoods of the New Orleans, the Chapman area, Kensington Lodge, Vietnam, a lot of the children are very, very heavily invested into the motorcycles, and the motorcycles is a way to control their minds. And I mean that in a positive light. It gives them something to do. We can use it also to tie them back into their education, because I myself have done it. If they don't do good at school, if they're not listening to their parents, if their parents have bad reports about them, then they can't ride. And they will behave because they want to ride. They want to ride, even if it costs $20. They don't have a job, but they can produce the money to ride.
Coming up, the Villa Market in Barbados generating hundreds of millions of dollars in economic activity. Barbados has seen close to $500 million in investment in the villa sector since 2019. This is according to Minister of Energy and Business Development, Senator Lisa Cummins. She was speaking as she led off debate on an amendment to the Tourism Development Bill to allow villas to access concessions for construction, renovation and furnishing.
We have seen around $457.3 million in investment in this segment. We have seen over 684 new jobs added as a consequence of that. And when I talk about new jobs being added, when you have a villa and in the cabinet papers that go up, you typically will see to employ how many persons for each villa and what the kinds of jobs are that you will see. So you typically will have your butler services, you will have your gardening, you'll have your housekeeping, you'll have your chefs. Some of them are really high-end and they have mixologists and so on. So they have all kinds of skills, food supply. Then you have your connections to your local farmers, your local supermarkets.
Meanwhile, opposition Senator Ryan Walters has called for an update on the Barbados Employment Sustainable Transformation, or BEST program. The $300 million initiative was introduced during the COVID-19 pandemic to allow tourism businesses to train and retain staff as well as upgrade their facilities.
Barbados would like to know what is the update on the $300 million concession. They said that the numbers are up for tourism. So are the hotels that participated. The last update I am aware of was in the budget of 2022, where they said 50 companies benefited from the concession or from the pool of resources made available to them, and 2,142 workers benefited from the program at that time. So it is not unreasonable to ask for an update and ask for how is the repayment of those funds scheduled or likely to happen so that taxpayers can get the much needed benefit from the return of those finances.
The records at the Archives Department are being moved to a temporary secure facility. And come January 2025, a full report will be given to the country by the Division of Culture. This is according to Minister in the Prime Minister's Office with responsibility for culture, Senator Dr. Chantal Munro-Knight. She was speaking ahead of the passing of the Maritime and Underwater Heritage Act 2024.
We will have, for the first time ever, I'm just going to say within the Caribbean, but I believe even broader than that, we will have a fully outfitted facility for an archives that can withstand guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, I shouldn't say so in the context of the climate crisis, but that the materials and the engineering are up to a Category 5 resistant level.
Additionally, Senator Dr. Munro-Knight says a report issued by an independent investigative team out of St. Kitts and Nevis noted the fire at the Archives Department was due to a lightning strike. The team made several recommendations, including boosting security and installing lighting rods on the Archives Department, which are currently being implemented.
They asked us to just make sure that we have an instantaneous kind of call to the Barbados Fire Service. And by Friday, right now, we have technicians that are at the archives on site, and they're doing several things, and that is one of those things, making sure that we have that trigger that goes directly to the Barbados Fire Service. They're also upgrading the CCTV camera facilities. They're also upgrading the access controls. Those access controls will be upgraded by December 29th. CCTV and, as I said, the Fire Service automatic trigger by Friday of this week.
An independent senator is calling for legislation to guide sea egg harvesting both within and outside of the legal fishing windows. The call from Senator Christopher Maynard, who was speaking during debates on the Maritime and Underwater Heritage Bill 2024. He says apart from setting a season for fishing the delicacy, there has been no regulation on the quantity that can be harvested.
We may have contributed to the disappearance of the sea egg in a major way, not only because of overfishing during the legal times, but outside of the legal times.
The Sandy Lane Charitable Trust has disbursed more than $500,000 to families in need this Christmas season. This has been disclosed by trustee Philippa Chalice. She was speaking during the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust's annual presentation of food vouchers and gifts to families and children.
We this Christmas have distributed over $500,000 to families and children at Christmas, and thank you. Whilst that sounds an awful lot of money, it doesn't go very far when there are so many people in need. And that I always wish we could do more. Dwayne would like us to help more people, but we have so many other projects that we undertake. It's very difficult to know where to stop. But $120,000 has gone to Eden Lodge this year, and they put it to good use with supermarket vouchers, gas, ham, chicken.
President and Chief Executive Officer of the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust, Dwayne Grisette, says they're happy to be able to help families, even though it has been a challenging year financially for the charity. He notes people have been reaching out on a daily basis for support.
Especially when they hear about what we do, you know, they're calling for assistance, the phone is ringing, emails are coming, Facebook, IG, every communication network that persons can find to contact us, they're calling us about help because things are very bad all around, not only in Barbados but across the world. And you know, with the inflation of prices of stuff and everything, it makes it more difficult for families to be able to survive.
The Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation has once again joined with the trust. Marketing specialist Nicole Collins says the CBC is proud to play a role in the initiative.
In being more than just a broadcaster, we see ourselves as an integral part of the Barbadian community, sharing stories, amplifying voices, and most importantly, partnering with organizations like the Eden Lodge Youth Charitable Trust to make a tangible difference in the lives of those who need it most. This partnership reflects our ongoing commitment to giving back to the community that supports us. The distribution of vouchers here this afternoon is about addressing immediate needs, but also about fostering hope and resilience in our youth and families. It's about saying that all of you here matter and that we are here for you.
Sports time now, and we say goodnight to Mark Seal in the Sports Center.
Well, very good evening to everyone. West Indies went crashing to a 60-run defeat, and the Women's T20 International Series lost to hosts India when the third and final match concluded at the Patil Sports Academy in Mumbai this afternoon. Chasing a target of 218, the Windies women fell short on 157 for 9. Chanel Henry top scored with 43, while Deandra Doughton added 25 and captain Haley Matthews 22. Yata Yadav picked up 4 for 29. Now, earlier, the Windies won the toss, sent the Indian women into bat, and they posted an imposing 217 for 4. Skipper Smitri Mandana top scored with 77 that included 13 fours and a 6, while player of the match, Richard Gosh, added 54. The teams will now face each other in the first of 3 one-day internationals starting on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Windies men will try to avoid their series sweep by Bangladesh tonight when they play in the third and final T20 international at Arnos Vale in St. Vincent. Play begins at 8 p.m. It'll be live on MCTV's ESPN Channel 308 and also on radio 94.7 FM. Shea Hope and his Hobart Hurricanes have lost their opening match of the Australian Big Bash League, being soundly beaten by the Melbourne Renegades. Batting first at Geelong after being sent in, the Hurricanes were skittled out for 74 in 12.4 overs. Captain Nathan Ellis top scored with 35, while Hope made 13. Player of the match, Tom Rogers, took 3 for 25. Renegades made light work of the target, posting 78 for 4 off just 9 overs to win by 6 wickets. Tim Seifert was unbeaten on 37, while Ellis came back to take 2 for 12. We'll take another break here, and when I come back later, we'll have news from football and dominoes. Ben, it's back to you, though.
Thank you so much, Mark. Up next on CBC's Newsnight, the Business Report. In tonight's business, Barbados is set to receive another $56 million from the International Monetary Fund. This follows yesterday's conclusion of the 4th review under the Extended Fund Facility and the Resilience and Sustainability Facility. The statement from the IMF says the country's economic growth has remained robust in 2024, driven by strong tourism, business services and construction. Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair of the IMF's Executive Board, Lee, says although still high, public debt continues to decline. Unemployment has also fallen and inflation has moderated. Mr. Lee notes important progress is being made on fiscal reforms, including improvements to public financial management. He also highlights the tabling of a new electricity supply bill to enhance competition in the electricity market and encourage a local participation in renewable energy investment. While the outlook is positive, the IMF official says Barbados remains vulnerable to global shocks, climate change and natural disasters, as demonstrated by Hurricane Beryl. Tomorrow is Give Back Day at the local hardware giant Kuman. Store manager Stefan Potoff told the Business Report the retailer will be offering a 17.5% discount store-wide. He adds that even building materials, which are normally not discounted, will be reduced by 17.5%. Mr. Potoff says it's the company's way of saying thank you to Barbadians for their support over the year. Here's how the stocks traded locally and regionally today.
Jamaica, Lasco Distributors Limited, with 7,033,099 units, was the volume leader, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited, Manufacturing and Distribution, and Wigton Energy Limited. In Trinidad and Tobago, Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader, with 715,383 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $2,768,489.94, followed by NCB Financial Group Limited. And here in Barbados, Cave Shepherd and Company Limited was the volume leader, trading 4,569 shares at Barbados $7.50 each, and they were followed by CIBC Caribbean Bank Limited.
And that's business. We'll take a break and be back with the weather. We again apologize for the absence of a weather presenter. However, we have some information from the Barbados Meteorological Services for you. Met officials are reporting that a weak low-level trough and surface convergence brought partly cloudy to cloudy skies, showers and rain to the southern leewards and southern windwards, including Trinidad and Tobago today. Other islands in the region reported partly cloudy skies and a few light showers. In Barbados, these few showers yielded no significant rainfall. Fair to partly cloudy skies were initially reported across the Guianas by afternoon. A combination of onshore convergence and the intertropical convergence zone began to affect the region, producing showers and thunderstorms. Winds across the region were generally light to moderate, peaking at 25 knots in St. Lucia and 21 knots here in Barbados. Data from the BMS's sea drone indicated that seas are rough in open water, peaking at 2.7 meters to the north of the island. A small craft and high surf advisory are in effect. A ridge pattern will be dominant across most of the eastern Caribbean tonight, with fair to partly cloudy skies and a few light showers expected. Convergence along the southern periphery of the ridge will continue to produce cloudy skies and showers south of St. Vincent. The Guianas will continue to be affected by the ITCZ. We'll take a break here and come right back with the local forecast. The forecast for tonight calls for a mix of clear skies and clouds with the occasional brief isolated light showers. Tomorrow we'll see a mix of sunshine and clouds with the occasional brief isolated light showers. The wind will be moderate and easterly from 30 to 35 kilometers per hour. The sea is expected to be moderate to rough in open water with swells ranging from 2 to 3 meters and increasing. A small craft and high surf advisory is in effect for above normal sea swells. We'll take a break and be back with sports. Time now to welcome back Mark Seal in the Sports Center.
Indeed, thank you, Wendy. 5 local match officials, 1 referee and 4 assistant refs have made it onto the prestigious 2025 FIFA International Referees list. That's the highest status in football refereeing. Current FIFA International assistant referees Kevon Clark, Angela Doyle and Abigail Brathwaite will remain on the list, while there's the addition this year of BFA referee Cleon Cully and BFA assistant referee Giselle Louison, who have also been approved to officiate matches at the international level. BFA head of refereeing Victor Moore is delighted with the accreditation of the Barbadian officials to the FIFA International's referees list, confirming it is also the first time since 2017 that Barbados can boast it has a FIFA-accredited men's referee. FIFA member countries are invited annually to nominate officials for a consideration to make the FIFA International's referees list. However, selection is based on a stringent set of criteria and match experience. The Slammer Dome extravaganza entitled Dominoes in the City, is nearing its final stages. Chairman of the organizing committee, Inspector Rodney Innes, says the final day of action is set for Boxing Day. The event started on December 4th with 177 teams across 16 venues island-wide.
So we cut from 177 to 135, then to 90, and then last night we cut to we played 60, so we're now at 40. So tomorrow night is the 40. That's Wednesday. Friday we will be in town with the 27, the quarterfinalists, and then Saturday we play the 9, and then we play the final. And the winner walks away with $10,000. That team, $10,000. They share $15,000 between them, 3 teams. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Christmas back, we have 4 individual events. One of which is the MAGA one, where the individual walks away with $10,000 as well in cash. So, like I said, we're paying out over $45,000 in cash, and we're expanding every year.
Inspector Innes, who is also the second vice president of the Fundo World League, says Barbados will stage the World Championship of Dominoes in 2025.
We're still doing the plans. We have not finalized the date as yet, but we're looking in the area of October, the month of October 2025, where we've invited all those Spanish-speaking nations and the whole Caribbean to come out and support what we're doing in 2025. We're yet to finalize the venue. We're meeting with those organizers and those persons and sponsors and other people, as you can imagine, to make sure that everything is finalized and that we can give everyone 6 months notice as to what is occurring here in Barbados and getting everybody to come and celebrate the World Championship of Dominoes.
And Wendy, that's it for sports.
Thank you so much, Mark. I think we should have been slamming a dom.
Indeed.
We'll return after the break. Thanks for viewing. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.